Gotta make adjustments here. I'm really glad to have heard the songs and the testimonies supporting the word today, because it was not an easy word for me to put down and try to have one direction with it. So I want Yahweh's will to be done, his word to go forth and to accomplish that what he sent it to do. We know that there was the word in the beginning that he sent forth, and we know it's going to accomplish. But every time we speak the word of Yahweh, it's to go out and do something. So that is my prayer today. I made a statement a little while ago about talking about the need for deliverance. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that from the view that Yahweh has given me in this topic. So I want to discuss it in the view of healing. See, I think when we think of deliverance, we think of delivering somebody from demons and things like that, literal demons, without realizing we have demons that aren't demons. We've made them demons. So deliverance, of course, means to deliver, and I hate the dictionary that uses the word to define the word, because that doesn't help you. But to deliver means to set free. So deliverance means to be set free. Well, healing means to make free from injury or disease, to make sound or whole, to restore to original purity or integrity. So you see why I'm saying deliverance in the view of healing. So I want to talk to you about this deliverance as a complete healing. With that established, I want to ask the question, is there a balm in Gilead? Is there a balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered? Bless Yahweh, O my soul, and forget not all his benefit, who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all thy diseases, who redeems thy life from destruction, who crowns thee with loving kindness and tender mercies. Heal me, O Yahweh, and I will be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. If Yahweh heals you, you are healed. To make free from injury or disease, to make sound or whole, to restore to original purity or integrity. Divine healing. I'm not just talking about healing, I'm talking about divine healing. Involves a supernatural act which resolves a physical, emotional, or spiritual problem. I want you to keep in mind the question, is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? As I talk to you about scars. To you and me, we are healed even though there remains scars. Remember, complete healing to restore to original purity or integrity. Scars are areas of fibrous tissue that replace normal skin after injury. Now remember, we're not going to just talk about the natural. We need to do that spiritual connection. A scar results from the biological process of wound repair in the skin and other tissues of the body. Thus, scarring is a natural part of the healing process. The natural part of the healing process. With the exception of very minor cuts, every wound results in some degree of scarring. Divine healing involves a supernatural act. All scarring is composed of the same collagen as the tissue it has replaced, but the composition of the scar tissue compared to the normal tissue is different. Scar tissue also lacks the elasticity, unlike normal tissue, which distributes fiber elasticity. Scars differ in the amount of collagen overexpressed. This collagen scar tissue alignment is usually of inferior functional quality to the normal collagen randomized alignment. So scar tissue is inferior, of an inferior functional quality. That's natural healing. For example, scars in the skin are less resistant to ultraviolet radiation, and sweat glands and hair follicles do not grow back within the scar tissue. So I want to ask, does anyone have a scar? Naturally, let's do naturally. Anyone have a scar? Scar that you can like show right here and now, not in a, there's Leo's. So Leo's, stand up and show your scar to everybody. So what happened?
I went paintball and this guy went up behind me and hit me twice. It hurt.
Jeremy, what about yours? This isn't like this recent paintballing issue? Okay, anybody else? Nisha. All right, now besides my skin cancer removal scars, I got like one here, and it's because back in the day, instant anger modes, I'm trying to get in the house, I unlocked the door, and we had one of the big windows, and so instead of hitting the wood frame to push the door open, I put my hand through the window. Now there's a reason why I have these little stories here going on. Scars can be emotionally devastating for many people, leading to mental and emotional complications. Scars can be disfiguring and aesthetically unpleasant. Most skin scars are flat and leave a trace of the original injury. Everybody can stand up and say how it left a trace of the original injury, not just in your physicalness, but in your mind. You can tell the story. You can point, this is when, and I've heard people with the gunshot, and this is when we were here and got that shot, and this is when this happened, and this is when that happened, and they can tell the story. So scars can be leave a trace of the original injury that caused them. Wounds allowed to heal secondarily tend to scar worse than wounds from primary closure, which means if you sought treatment for the scar and got it taken care of right away, the scarring is less, it leaves less of a trace of a scar than if you left it and didn't get it treated, then your scar is going to be worse. So they're emotionally devastating for many people, leading to mental and emotional complications. Scars can be disfiguring and aesthetically unpleasant, which means your perception of beauty, how it makes you look. Somebody who, if I had some vanity, which I have a little bit, this would really bother me, because I'm disfigured. So I can, in doing this, I thought of some of our young ladies who would really something like this would cause you to either wear lots of makeup, you wouldn't go out anymore, it would just make you homebound. It would really complicate your life. This is just a scar. Just the scar. Natural healing. See, that's healed. This is healed. These things are healed. The way we view being healed, we accept that. And so therefore, the deliverance isn't happening like it ought to, that Yahweh would have for us to go through to be completely healed of things that have scarred our lives, because we think the scar is what is a part we're healed. But Yahweh's saying no to that. Yahweh's saying when he heals, it's a restoration back. Doesn't leave something inferior behind. It's a restoration, a complete whole restoration. Side effects of scars may include, did you know that there are side effects to scars? Tenderness. Now you think of your scars. Yours might not be. My shoulder is. Okay, so touching it hurts it. I'm going around it when I do this. But think of spiritually, emotionally, people who are tender. They get angry easily. They get, and you're always saying, why you got to be so emotional about everything? They're tender. They're tender. And we don't think about what caused that. We just want them to be right. Stop crying about everything, and why you always got to take everything so personal. And, they're tender. Scars side effect includes tenderness, pain, sleep disturbances. Can't sleep because you're scarred, because of a scar from something that you feel you've been healed from. Anxiety, depression. Now, we're not calling the source because we believe we've been healed, because we settle for what remained, the scar. We settled for it. We think we're healed. But we're having these side effects. We're having these side effects of what wounded me, and I thought, or I think, I'm healed. And Yahweh is saying, you are naturally healed. You haven't come to me and been delivered, been made whole, had it completely removed. They disrupt daily activities. Now we can think on the natural, somebody who's had a scar that really disfigures them. They don't work, like it really physically impairs them because of that aesthetic pleasantness. They don't feel, or even with the way they may be outgoing, but the way people receive them because of their disfigurement. Emotionally, it's the same way. When we've had these scars, we have a tendency to draw back. We have a tendency to, allow it to disrupt our daily activities. We don't feel we can go to certain things or associate with certain people, because for whatever the reason is, it's something we've naturally made up in our head. Scars may also cause development of post-traumatic stress reactions. Now, this is all about natural scars, so imagine spiritual scars. And y'all know what post-traumatic stress reactions are. You're constantly reliving. That's whatever puts you in that situation. You're constantly reliving it. It never goes away. That's from scars. How is that healed? How is that healed? Loss of self-esteem and being stigmatized. Somebody who doesn't feel they have no worth. People who feel that they don't fit the beauty mold because of some disfiguring in their physicalness. It's the same way emotionally, because they don't fit in, to whatever mold they have in their own mind, in their own perception. That's natural. That's the natural healing thing. It leads to diminish quality of life. Yahweh wants us to have an abundant life. And we allow these things that we think we've been healed from or delivered from, but we have scars remaining, are not allowing us to move in the abundant life that Yahweh has for us. Where we may have this low self-esteem, thinking, I can't do anything for Yahweh. I'm too damaged. I'm too hurt. I can't associate with people. Whatever thought process you got going on there, Yahweh is a healer. He's a healer. And he says, I heal all your diseases. And when Yahweh's talking about healing, it's complete. There will be no scars. No scars. Therefore, if there's no scars, there's no side effects from scars. You can sleep at night. Your sleep is not disrupted. You don't have post-traumatic stress reactions. You're not going to be feeling like you're not fit. You're not going to have anxiety or depression. Symptoms may include disturbing thoughts and feelings or dreams related to events, mental or physical distress of trauma-related cues. That means something similar triggers you to go back to think about that incident that happened. Attempts to avoid trauma-related cues. So now I'm staying away from anything that may make me think of the situation that caused me trauma. Alterations in how a person thinks and feels. So we don't fit the norm. Again, that goes to that, they're sensitive or tender, whatever verbiage you want to use for that. If a wound heals quickly within 2 weeks with new formation of skin, minimal collagen will be deposited and no scar will form. So just as in this natural, when, you get something treated right away and it can heal within 2 weeks, there'll be no scar, or very minimal, where you wouldn't be able to see it. I think William's burn on his leg, can we even see that? It's like you really have to search for it. But I took care of it immediately as soon as it happened. And we continue to take care of it throughout the healing process. So you really have to search for it. Plus, he got hairy legs. You really have to search for it. But injuries that are not taken care of right away, the scarring is not only scarring, it's worse. It's worse. Generally, if a wound takes longer than 3 to 4 weeks to become covered, a scar will form. So, if you have an open wound, the open wounds they take a long, long time to heal. You're going to have a scar. So if you have open wounds, you're definitely going to get a scar. So Yahweh is talking about healing that's even to the place of removing scars. I'm not talking about we ever forget, the mind is made that way. But I know that Yahweh's even able to do that, erase things. Like incidents of, I don't remember. I don't even remember what that argument was about and why when forgiveness comes in. So I know, because our assembly's a little, and so we kind of know each other. So I know of things. So because I know of things, I pray. But I know there are scars. If they're not open wounds, I know there are scars. And Yahweh wants deliverance. He wants to deliver you to set you free. He wants this complete healing that's going to make you free from the injury, make you free from the consequences of what's happening in your life because of the injury. Now, these injuries have occurred at different levels in time. Some of us were children. Some of us have gone through abuses. Some of us have gone through rejections. Now, I can talk about this because I've had some scars. And before I understood, like I can get up here a little technically and do some technical stuff, Yahweh took me through, So I remember it's been several years because Sister Eleanor and them were still around. And so I stood and I made a statement in the church. I said, I have had my heart broken, but I don't have a broken heart. And Sister Eleanor got me afterwards, and she encouraged me and gave me some explanation of how, like, the profoundness of that statement. So we can testify and say, I have gone through, but that's not me. I may have been abused, but that's not me anymore. My life isn't based off of having a broken heart or being rejected. Some of us have been rejected by parents or rejected by spouses or been rejected. And rejection is a scar. It causes you to act. You may be putting people off. You want a relationship, but anytime someone gets close, you push them off because of the scar of the hurt before. You put off, but it also affects your relationship with Yahweh. because this relationship reflects this relationship. So if I have trouble because I've been rejected or I've been abused by somebody and I'm standoffish, I do the same thing to Yahweh. I allow him to get so close, but because I don't want to be hurt again. That's from a scar. That's from a scar. Yahweh, when he heals, it's complete. He removes the scar so that you can enter into relationships with one another and with him. And with him. Now you may ask, well, how do I do this? Because it's divine. It's supernatural. It's not the natural. For years, we've been thinking we're okay. Yahweh, I gave that to Yahweh. And maybe you did. But you got a scar that's interfering with the complete healing that Yahweh has for you and for me. So first of all, you're not going to, you might. I'm not going to put Yahweh in a box. But so I'm going to be careful how I phrase this. I was going to say, you're not going to feel like chills running up and down your spine and, for that healing. You may not feel anything physically. You may not feel anything. And before I go on air, I want you to say that medically, it's better for you to not have them full with your scars because they make them worse. Naturally speaking, some people have some scars that they may want to, because of how disfiguring it is or where it is, they want plastic surgery or they want that stuff. I read a lot of stuff. They tell you, leave it alone. Your scars are your scars. Because it may fix it the way it looks, but then you have increased pain. You have other things that although the scar they can't totally remove it, ever. When you got a scar, you got a scar. They may make it look better, but it usually comes with a cost of pain or an inability, say if it was something near a joint where you're not going to be able to function this way. You may look good, but it's going to come with a price. Yahweh's not like that. Yours can be removed and have no residual effect. They can't give you new skin. Yahweh can. Spiritually, Yahweh can give you new skin. He can make you new. It won't be inferior functional quality. It'll be as good as new. So how do we do this? How, those of us that are hurting, and I know there's been some people who are recipients of abuse. I know there are abusers in our midst who have been the cause of abuse. And Yahweh's, you've come to Yahweh and you've made your peace. Hallelujah. But there's still scars, regrets, hurts from whichever side you're on. First of all, you have to believe in Yahweh. You have to have faith in Yahweh. You have to believe that he's great. Not just believe in him, but that he's great and that he can do these things that, I threw in a couple scriptures because I want you to know that's what Yahweh says. Bless Yahweh, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all thy diseases. This is not, we have a tendency to think of diseases. Sin is a disease. Sin is a disease. It's a disease. So when he says heals all thy diseases, he heals all your diseases. Heal me, This is Jeremiah. Going to Yahweh. Heal me, Yahweh, and I shall be healed. If I go to Yahweh asking for healing, I shall be healed. If I go to him for salvation, I shall be saved. Why? For thou art my praise. Because you are my God, and I extol thee above all others. When I go to you, my source, and ask for healing, I will be. When I go for salvation, note the scripture. He equated the healing and the salvation the same. Not one greater than the other. When I'm saved to the utmost. That I'm saved even from my infirmities. We sing the song, which there are lines in particular songs. Like the one line in Leo's song, you were after me, now I'm after you. You came after me, now I'm after you. But we sing the song, I'm giving you not just my sin, but everything within. We need to stop withholding things from Yahweh. We have to give it all to him. Okay, you gave him your sin, but what about your hurt? So that he can heal you. You have allowed yourself to think you're healed, but have allowed scars to remain. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that comes to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So we're going to follow the scriptures. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask Yahweh, heal me, because I believe you are, and you are a rewarder. It's a reward. Healing's a reward. Salvation is a reward for making Yahweh your God. Deliverance is a reward because Yahweh is your God. We make the statements when we come into the presence of Yahweh, nothing that's not like him can remain. And we're constantly telling each other how we need to go into the presence of Yahweh. Do you think you're going into the presence of Yahweh carrying all this stuff and it not being consumed by his presence? If it's not being consumed, have you been going into his presence? Deliverance, healing, complete. Cast all your care upon him because he cares for you. He cares. He cares that your sleep is disrupted. He cares that you're anxious. He cares that you can't seem to hold a job because you allow circumstances of life to cause you to draw back because of things in your life. Maybe you don't even realize. Maybe I'm talking to people and it's like, I do that, but I didn't know it was because of. See, because you think you're healed. Because you think you're healed because you have a scar. These scars are affecting us. Again, if I ask Yahweh to heal me, I will be healed because he's my praise. So you want these things from Yahweh, you make Yahweh your God, and you get these things. So we want to be delivered. We want to be healed. We want to stop letting these. First, we have to adjust our thought process. That these scars that I've allowed to remain in my life, because I thought that's just the way it is, as it is naturally. Yahweh saying, not so with him. Not so with him. That he will heal you completely. There will be no scars. And you will be not having any side effects of scars. And you will not be having any disfigurement of scars. You will be going forward whole. Restored to your original purity and integrity. You know, I've heard it said a while ago, I think it was a preacher or somebody in a testimony or something, but I like the statement and haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to use it. But it fits in with the scarring and with Yahweh when he heals you, restoring you to original purity or integrity. Us who have been fornicators. Do you know that when you come to Yahweh and he gives you back your virginity? And I'm not talking physically, but spiritually. He cleans you. You're whole. You are virgin before him. If you maintain yourself going forward, that's how he sees you, pure. That's the blood of Yahshua. Can take that and make you pure. Can take any infirmity and make you pure. But it got to go back to the song where I look and say, pour over me. Pour over me. Heal me. Pour over me. I want to be whole. I don't want these things hindering me, handicapping me between my relationships, between my children, my spouse, my loved ones, between you and me, Yahweh. Between you and me, Yahweh. See these things for what they are. See these things that we keep coming up short in and see them for what they are. Let Yahweh bring things back to your remembrance. You know, we look at eating disorders, and what they say mentally is these girls who weigh 90 pounds stand in a mirror and see fat. And so they keep starving themselves because of physically what they see is fat. It's the same thing with beauty. If you perceive yourself as ugly, every time you look in the mirror, you're going to be doing things to try to beautify yourself. Because what you see, those are scars. Those are scars. Yahweh desires us to be healed. The question is there no balm in Gilead? The answer is, of course there is. Is there no physician? Of course there is. Not just a physician, but the great physician. He's not only the physician, he's the balm. B-A-L-M. He's the healing ointment. He's the healing ointment. So it's not only is he the physician, but he is the healing ointment. Just as he's the perfect sacrifice and the high priest. Sister, where could I go? I don't need to go nowhere else. I don't need to find the physician and then go find the medicine. The physician is the medicine. The high priest is the sacrifice. I don't have to go find a perfect sacrifice and then find a perfect priest. They're one and the same. I don't have to go. You want the Holy Spirit? You don't have to go searching for it. He is it. Come into his presence and be made whole. Make him truly your God. Seek him wholeheartedly, and he will be your God. Now, I asked, were you able to find it? Has anybody watched or listened to anything from the story? I do not know how I got this CD. It just came in the mail, free. Go figure. I got a CD. I'm like, I didn't order this. William said, well, maybe it was from when you ordered something else. I'm like, but it doesn't even come from somewhere I ordered stuff from. So it's from the story. And I thought it fit with the message because it's an encouragement song about when love sees you. You know, and the scars making us feeling that we're not pretty or we're not worthy or we're not fit. But when love sees you, when Yahshua sees you, he doesn't see you like that because he can make you whole and he wants to make you whole. So his relationship to you. So I wanted to end with that. It's a real simple melody, so it's with lyrics, so if anybody wants to sing it, or they can read it so you can understand what's being said. But let's get rid of these things that are hindering us. Hindering us from being the people that Yahweh wants us to be. Whole. Not just forgiven, but whole. Whole. Hallelujah.
Blessed are you as you weep on your knees, with perfume and tears washing over my feet. And blessed are you, beggar, hopeless and blind, calling for mercy when I'm passing by. Blessed are you, shaking your head at 2 tiny fish and some bread. Blessed are you as you tremble and wait for the first stone thrown at your sinful disgrace. Tell me your story, show me your wounds, and I'll show you what love sees when love looks at you. Hand me the pieces, I'll show you what love sees when love sees you. Blessed are you, walking on waves, to find yourself sinking when you look away. Blessed are you, lepers standing alone, the fear on their faces is all that you've known. Blessed are you, lonely widow who gave your last shiny coin to Yahweh. Blessed are you with your silver and lies, kissing the one who's saving your life. Tell me your story, show me your wounds, and I'll show you what love sees when love looks at you. Hand me the pieces, broken and bruised, and I'll show you what love sees when love sees you. I see what I made in your mother's womb, and I see the day I fell in love with you. I see your tomorrows, nothing left to chance. I see my father's fingerprints. I see a story, I see my name written on every beautiful page. You see the struggle, you see the shame, I see the reason I came. I came for your story, I came for your wounds, to show you what love sees when I see you.